New seasons, new gear. Show the world what it means to be a fan in 100% authentic gear. Fanatics, officially licensed everything.
Get ready to dive into a new world of online shopping with the Fins Tailgate. Whether you're a die-hard sports fan or just looking for the latest fashion trends, we've got you covered. With a wide variety of products from your favorite sports teams to stylish accessories and home decor, we're your one-stop shop for all things tailgate. Our easy-to-use website and hassle-free checkout process make shopping with us a breeze. Plus, with frequent sales and discounts, you won't want to shop anywhere else. So come on in and join the party at the Fins Tailgate, your new go-to destination for all things tailgate.
This is a TFTG public service announcement. The TFTG Late Night Exhale is back Saturdays, 10 p.m. Let the top of the tailgate begin.
Fear here. You ain't giving it to all, you steer clear. Never beat, I've been down and I reappear. You got some money on the line, you better put it here. Rolling in and doing that work. Check priorities, I'm doing that first. Checks big and I'm sure that hurts, but it's checkmate. We ain't selling short, no the work. Ain't nowhere to hide. You ain't gotta see me come and keep me on your mind.
Good morning, Fin fans. This is TFTG's Top of the Tailgate. I am your host, Ali the Persian. How is everybody doing today? It is Tuesday, August 1st. This is going to be a special show. As they saw in the title, Colors Going to Camp. I already got the boys in the back. I'm going to bring them up shortly, but I just want to shout out to a few things here. First of all, shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining us this morning. I know it's been a hot minute since we've had Top of the Tailgate, coming back from certain stuff, readjusting to life and whatnot. It's not been very easy for me, and I apologize for that. I promise to do better for you guys. So we're going to try to keep going on this and getting Top of the Tailgate more often, I promise. With that being said, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure that you subscribe, turn on notifications, tell your friends, and while you're at it, check out some of the other content that we got up in this joint. We got El Capitan, a TFTG show every other day of the week, and he's going to be calling games this season. I can't wait. You got Color and I with Top of the Tailgate, and sometimes a cup of color. I can't wait for that. In addition, we got KP. We're going to get him in the fold. We got Lewis and Shake Money with, Drive Time, Smoke Lounge, and Shake Money is going to be helping me with Saturdays too. So I can't wait for all of that. Make sure, if you want to donate to the channel, help the channel out, we accept Cash App, Venmo. We also accept super chats and super stickers and stuff. So we appreciate it. Don't have to donate, but if you want to, we appreciate it. In addition to that, check out some of the links we got below with our affiliates, man. We got Fanatics, officially licensed everything, right? Get all the awesome deals and everything for all your memorabilia that you need. Definitely check out Fanatics. Fanatics, the link, like I said, you get all the same deals as you would normally, except when you use that link, it gives us a pat on the back and it lets them know we sent you. So we really appreciate that. Check out Backroom Collection for some amazing artwork that you can actually hang anywhere in the household, or place of business. It doesn't matter. You can put it in your garage. They got all different types of canvas and customizations you can do for some awesome, Miami Dolphins stuff, as well as other sports as well. They do custom work, and they got some cool accessories for mini helmets and stuff that you can check out as well. And don't forget about Doobie Energy Drink. Doobie Energy Drink has some amazing supplements. They make claims that you don't get the jittering or shaking like you do with some of the other supplements that are out there. Shake Money says it's pretty good, and he agrees. He doesn't get the shaking or jittering either. They also claim to have a lot more vitamins and minerals that is actually all natural caffeinated and help the body as well as benefit the brain with better focus and concentration and stuff like that. So that's what they say. So just check out Doobie Energy Drink. The link's below. Both Doobie Energy Drink and Backroom Collections. You can save 10% off your order by using code TFTG at checkout. So shout out to all of our affiliates. We appreciate them and everything they do. That being said, let me go ahead and bring up the crew. We got Color in the house. Good morning, Color.
Good morning, Ali. Hey, Ali.
Yes.
Do better.
Yeah, I gotta do better, man. And then you got El Capitan. He's on the road because we're going to camp today. How's it going, El Cap?
What's going on? Just
That's it.
being the fastest car on the highway. That's all I'm doing.
Was he the one that stole my helicopter keys this morning?
Yeah, maybe. Speaking of helicopter keys, just so you guys know, it's currently 82 degrees in Miami. Today's high of 91 with a humidity of 82%. There's only a 10% chance of rain this morning. I did check the time frame you guys are going to be at camp, and it doesn't look like you're going to get any rain. There's no green pattern or anything on the radar over Miami at that time. It's not till later in the afternoon is when it'll start raining. There's a 47% chance of rain, just so you know.
I'm not a big check the weather kind of guy. I depend on people that I listen to tell me the weather.
Yeah.
And,
well, I just considered I just told you. Go ahead.
Exactly. But I did check the weather for today. It's gonna be a nice day. It's gonna be for South Florida at 91, that ain't that bad. And 80% humidity. Are you kidding me? I mean, usually I'm looking at 96 with 100% humidity. That's that's what I prepare for as a Floridian. I prepare for rain by just getting wet. I don't have an umbrella or a coat. I don't care. And, it's hot as a mug all the time. So the fact that I checked it and it's not as hot as it's going to be, I was like, all righty. It's going to be a nice day.
The rain forecast is usually all day or afternoon. One or the other.
Yeah.
All right,
Color, you drinking any coffee this morning?
I am back on my regular McCafe this week.
McCafe? Okay, well, I'm drinking some leftover Lavazza coffee. Italy's best coffee, just so you know. And it's pretty good. Yeah, you can.
I went to
Go ahead.
I went to the store last night and loaded up with a couple of drinks. This ain't my first rodeo driving to Miami from anywhere. So when you got a 3-4 hour drive, I already went and loaded up. I got 2 white chocolate frappuccinos from the gas station. So
you're a frappuccino kind of guy. Damn you. All right. Well,
I like coffee usually, but I prepare for it being hot. I don't like drinking hot ass coffee, but it's gonna be hot as hell outside.
Yeah. See, I'm kind of crazy with it. I'm not going to lie. When I go to events like that and I have to get up super early in the morning, bro, I'm loading up with energy drinks. I'm a Monster Java type of guy, with the Mean Bean or the Irish Bailey. I'm getting all hyped up and cracked on sugar and shit. You know what I mean? That's basically me.
That definitely.
So when I used to build houses as one of the guys from framing a house or doing siding and stuff, you'd be up at 4 o'clock in the morning because you want to get out there before light. Times, and that's when I would drink that stuff. But bro, I can't handle all that, man. It's just too.
I hear you.
Irish beans and those monster freaking coffee things. Holy cow!
Yeah,
it's like
getting
older. I watch it.
I know. don't do it as often as I used to. However, but that's what I used to be like exactly like that. So, let's keep it moving. We got cause for cleats.
Yeah. I turned.
Definitely. So we got cause for cleats color. Just so you know, today's cause for cleats, just so you're aware, is it is called Easter Seals, a champion for kids with physical disabilities. They are advocates for children and youth in physical disabilities and believe in their ability to achieve great things. They're adaptable, remarkable, and unstoppable. Easter Seals Ontario is a charitable organization dedicated to improving the lives of children and youth with long-term physical disabilities. Their goal is to break down barriers and provide the support and resources these individuals need to reach their full potential and achieve their dreams. They believe that every children, regardless of their abilities, should have the chance to overcome obstacles and make their mark on the world. With their programs and services, they aim to create a more inclusive and accessible society where kids and physical disabilities are valued, respected, and given the opportunity they need to succeed. We provide funding for essential accessibility and mobility equipment and remove barriers and enable children and the youth to experience the world on their own terms. Their two fully accessible summer camps and industry-leading camping programs help kids build confidence and foster a sense of community. Through their public education, awareness, and efforts, they aim to create a society that sets goals, not limits, for people with disabilities. For 100 years, this organization has been in place for over 100 years, have been providing children and youth with physical disabilities the tools they need to fulfill their aspirations and make their own positive impact on the world. We are grateful to our donors, sponsors, and volunteers and staff who have made it possible for them, continuing helping individuals with disabilities reach new heights. Shout out to Easter Seals Ontario. Been in business for, not really business, but they've been providing these benefits to children for over 100 years. Go to easterseals.org. Again, that's easterseals.org for more information, to learn how to donate. If you need to know about their programs and services they provide, or any information, or need to contact them for anything, go check them out. Again, we're not affiliated with them in any kind of way. We're just, putting it out there as a program that's available to people and just bring awareness. That's all. So I think that's a good, really good cause for cleats. What do you guys think?
Absolutely, bro.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine that his child has certain disabilities that they're referencing and has to use special equipment and whatnot. And I think the programs like this really helped him in his, and their child's mom and everybody with their situation, and helped not just them as the parents, but also help their child and reach their potential. Every time I see her, I get more and more impressed and everything with where she's at and everything. So.
Yeah, bro. I mean, let's be real. Everybody needs a helping hand from time to time, and there are those of us that need help a little bit more, and that's what it's all about when you're trying to find a good cause. So
definitely,
you want to find those the most in need. It's just like people like this. We don't ask for donations. We just want to pump it up and get them out there. I love the cause for cleats stuff. You said it was cause for cleats, correct?
Yeah, it is a cause for cleats. It's called easterseals.org.
So is it, whose cleats are they? Did they say which player represents them?
We have already gone over the entire Miami Dolphins team that has been registered so far that we can find. The only one that I started going to different teams. This cause of cleat is from Denver Broncos, and I apologize if I chew up this name. Isang Bassi, that's his cause for cleats.
Oh, yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Remember Tom used to do a little bit of this, and he would just find anyone from anyone. Yeah, I like it. I love it.
Yeah, I was trying to keep it Miami Dolphins, but I've already gone through the entire list, so I'm kind of like, okay,
Yeah,
we got to go do a
you
different
gotta
one.
take it across the NFL, man. I mean, it's good. These guys
Yeah,
are representing good causes. It's good to give them the shout out.
100%. So let's keep it moving. So just so you guys are aware, Color and I's goal is to get over 1,000 followers on Twitter. So please check us out. You can find me at Ali the Persian, at Ali_the_Persian. And you can find me there. You can check out Color at Colorcom for color. And you know where to find, El Capitan and the Finns Tailgate. So definitely check him out. Make sure you like and subscribe to them on Twitter. We're trying to get 1,000 followers. And do understand, this isn't for our benefit. This is for your benefit to follow us so you can know when shows are coming, what events that we may be attending. It's a good way for us to get news out to you. And actually, one other thing, it's a great way to go to TFTG.com. I'm sorry, TFTGnetwork.com. To get is your one-stop shop really for all TFTG things. Just so you're aware that you can see all of our
for all
Twitter
you
feeds.
short-term memory impaired people, you don't have to remember nothing. Just remember TFTGnetwork.com. You can find all links to all of our socials there and all of our content.
The biggest reason to follow us on Twitter is so you guys can join our conversations when we have Twitter spaces or whatever Twitter space we in. You can come join the conversation with us, talk some Dolphins. That's the biggest thing for me.
And you make color feel more important.
Color. You are important, man. I have you on my show. Otherwise, I wouldn't have you here.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. It's time for some football. I know people are waiting, chomping at the bits, especially El Capitan. So we are going to be
ain't
talking
no football around here, just mashed potatoes and corn.
Yeah, that's true. All right,
Remember to eat the
yeah, so we're going to be talking about quite a few things today. We're going to talk about yesterday's camp, some highlights, some tidbits of what Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel has put out. We'll actually go over his presser that he had yesterday. There's some good info I took from that. So we'll definitely review that. But let's keep it moving. So we're going to be talking about our GM, Chris Greer, has praised the tailbacks on Miami's training camp roster and has actually started dropping names, El Cap. He actually talked about Dalvin Cook. Said Dolphins are comfortable with backfield right now when Dalvin Cook was brought up on Sirius XM interview. The Miami Dolphins seemingly want to invest in the running back. They took to training camp and haven't been fazed by Dalvin Cook's open plea to join his hometown team. At least that's the tune general manager Chris Greer had during a Sirius XM interview that aired Monday when the organization's top executives sang the praises of the 5 of the 6 tailbacks Miami has in training camp, 4 of which the franchise re-signed this offseason. If we read between the comments, it seems as if Greer didn't seem motivated to sweeten Miami's standing offer to Cook, a free agent who has rushed for more than 1,100 yards the past 4 seasons because of Friday's visit to New York Jets and AFC East rival, which I might add that he left walking away back to South Florida, and it's already been confirmed he's down here. So I want to know where the contract offer was that supposedly that would be signed on right on Hard Knocks. What happened, El Cap? Do we know? Does Color know?
Listen, first of all, people were running all over the Miami Dolphins community in a friggin' tissy fit about Dalvin Cook going to the Jets. And I had tried to tell people for weeks, ever since the Dalvin Cook was winking at the Miami Dolphins, and it came out that we had given them offer officially. And I confirmed it and told people it is confirmed. Then, as the weeks went on, it was like, oh, no, blah, blah, blah. I said, listen, this man is playing the game. He tried to go to get the Jets, get them to give him an offer higher than the Dolphins, to bring back to the Dolphins to raise his value. It's a fact. Chris Greer has an offer on the table, one he believes to be fair. Now, what I'm assuming is that Mike McDaniel went back and watched all the film from last year. And if you look at it, he's probably noticing quite a bit of certain instances where the defense is playing deep. The game is not out of hand, forcing you to pass, and they needed to run the ball more. It was going to happen anyhow. But to bring a guy like Dalvin Cook into the mix, that just makes that gives you an added dynamic that you can lean on to force defenses to play more in the box, which is only going to play right into Tua's hand, and then this offense can become lethal. That was going to happen without Dalvin Cook, but with him, it really sets a precedent on a high-powered offense. But to me, Chris Greer has given him an offer they believe to be fair. They're not asking him to come in and be the number one back. And honestly, Chris Greer held firm at the poker table with this whole Dalvin Cook going to the Jets. And what ended up happening? They didn't even give him an offer. They had him come there. They played the game. They played nice with him, let him check out the facility. And it was just it was a propaganda stunt, dude. And Chris Greer didn't bat an eye. So once again, we're winning at that. But I've also tried to make it very clear, no matter how this slices with Dalvin Cook, he's not going to sign for a little while because he's waiting for camp, some team that has an RB1 that goes down and wants to give him a bag. Because as much as he wants to be here for probably a certain amount that he would, well, the amount that I'm being told is that it's $7 million. If he got $7 million guaranteed from the Dolphins, he would have already signed. That's what he wants. We're not offering that. And so, to me, if some team's RB1 goes down in camp and they're offering him 10, he's not going to say no.
Yeah. I mean, let me just tell you what Greer said in this interview about Dalvin. He says Dalvin is a tremendous athlete and football player and has been a productive player in the league. So I think that's why everyone's looking at him. I said people would love to have him, but whether it works out with us or anyone, we're very happy with the group we have, and we're just moving forward right now with that group. I'm going to tell you right now, first of all, Chris Greer is never going to give you his cards out in the open like that. That's number one. Number two, right now, Chris Greer and the NFL GMs that are out there have all the leverage on Dalvin Cook, and Dalvin Cook knows it. That's why he's just waiting for the best possible deal to come out, and that's why he's not in any rush, because he knows that right now, if he signs, they're going to sign him for something way lesser than what he thinks he's valued at, right? And the reason that they have all the leverage, you look at 2024's free agency in running back. Who are free agents that are available? Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Dalvin Cook, Jonathan Taylor, and many, many more. The availability and running backs that are out there, there's so many of them that people can sign. Why sign them to a long-term deal or a deal that they're going to get stuck in when they're going to have all these options? That's kind of where I'm at right now with the Dalvin Cook situation, is that I think Miami's not going to sign him until they're ready to, and it's on their terms. I like what Chris Greer is doing. I don't know about you, Color. What do you think? Color, did we lose you? Yeah, it looks like we lost Color. El Cap, you still there?
Hello?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. All right. So,
Okay.
yeah, there's definitely been a shift with NFL owners and paying players and what they're trying to do. We've seen two things for certain, loud and clear. And this just comes right after the players have redone their deal. Remember, there was they had the Players Association come to the table, and the hot button issue was the usage of marijuana and things like that. But now that things have changed, they're gonna have to go back to the table again, because look at what's happening to the running back room right now. They're being held hostage as athletes that do so much more than just run the ball these days. But also, the owners have put their foot in the ground with valuing this position with money. Quarterbacks continue to just skyrocket in ways that is ridiculous. And they also made a conservative effort to devalue tight end. They're not interested in paying tight ends what they were getting ever since Jimmy Graham got what he got and it didn't work out, and so on and so forth. So it's just an ever-changing document with players and owners. And, something very interesting I heard about the Jim Irsay and the Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, the Jonathan Taylor stuff is that, Jim Irsay right now is the oldest, longest tenured owner in the NFL at this point. And as the owner, not the family, but as the guy representing the team. And he had a public thing saying, to the owners that, listen, we own this. It's not the advertisers. It's not the players. This is our league, and we need to take control of it, essentially. And so these, let's not forget, us fans feel like we own this team. The players have leverage, all this stuff. Push come to shove, these owners will do what they want, because if they stand together, they won't. There ain't a damn thing anybody could do. We're talking about the jillions of dollars of people pushing up on it. It's their company. So there's a little bit of a weird thing going on right now.
And you're absolutely correct, because I'll piggyback that. More recently, I believe his name is Zach Martin, offensive lineman for the Dallas Cowboys, recently wants to get a new deal, is willing to hold out to get the best deal he can get. And supposedly, and this is what was quoted, Jerry Jones quoted that if Zach Martin holds out, that he is going to be severely penalized. So if he makes a comment like that, it almost sounds like the owners are trying to strong arm players. And it's not just the running back position. I can kind of see this going back and forth between the players and the owners for all positions. And that might cause some problems when they have to renegotiate a new CBA, if you know what I mean.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing that, in particular, that the owners can use against the players that decide to hold out. Jim Irsay and them are going to use on Jonathan Taylor. If he wants to sit out, they're going to use the non-football injury list, which is a list that, quite frankly, they're abusing. Standing negotiated during the owners and players associations. It was for some legal troubles, some the purview in which it's supposed to be used is not how the owners are using it, and they're weaponizing it, and wisely so. They're looking for anything to exploit. And how they're going to exploit it is they're going to say, yeah, this is non-football injury. You now aren't getting paid or do get paid for whatever it changes, whatever monies are guaranteed. But your contract rolls over to the following year. So it's a real weird thing. So if you're going to hold out, it doesn't matter, because you're not going to be able to get away with nothing. And be a free agent at the end of the year, you're going to still have a year left under contract. If players want to get power, they need to figure out a way that if they hold out, they force themselves into free agency the following year. That would change a lot of the dynamic that we're seeing.
So Delusional Patriots fan says, no, he's going to be penalized because the NFLPA bent over. It's almost impossible for players to hold out now. I'm going to disagree with that. Yeah, the NFL may withhold pay. There's certain ways for teams to, in a shady way, basically stop you from being paid and can extend your contract to the next year before they have to pay you. Just like what Jim Irsay has threatened to do with some loophole because of an injury that happened that is not related to football with Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, you're right. There are things like that in place. However, players can do something outside of the NFL to make sure that they at least have the funds or money that they would have normally gotten. And what that entails is taking an insurance policy out that actually pays them in the event of some type of dispute or this type of situation. I've seen several players throughout the years do this. So, yeah, they eventually do have to pay it back. So it does cost them something. But it is a way at least they can get paid while, the NFL is sorting things out or whatever whatever they're doing with their team or whatnot in case of a holdout. So it's not impossible. It's just it does make it tougher. So I do agree with that. All right. Color, you there with us now? I know you were AFK for a moment.
I am. Were you asking me a question?
Well, I was asking your opinion about, the running back situation and stuff, but...
Oh, well, if you were asking my opinion, that's going to require at least a 50-cent deposit, man.
All right, hold on a second. I got to send you a cup of coffee. Yeah, but let's keep it moving, though, because El Cap actually answered really very well about the situation and the owners. Basically, the outcome of it is the ownership are trying to take back their league. They feel that, they've given too much power to the players and they don't feel that they should succumb to, certain requests and whatnot. Basically, there's basically the players work for them, not the other way around. So, which I kind of agree with. I agree with what El Cap was stating. But continuing with this Sirius XM interview with Chris Greer, he also talked about Tyreek. Tyreek Hill's blessing Eli Apple signing. So check this out. Greer confessed that the Dolphins called Tyreek to clarify if he had an issue with Miami signing cornerback Eli Apple to address the loss of Jalen Ramsey, who suffered a knee injury last week and likely will be sidelined until December. And he had to have his meniscus repaired, as we know. Hill's response, according to Greer, was, "I love Eli. That's my dog." Greer pointed out that later that day, Hill tweeted out how practice was going to be fun Monday because of his ongoing social media feud with Apple, and then said he's a genius, referring to Hill's social media marketing mindset. According to Greer, it wasn't just Hill, an all-pro receiver to whom he'd give that treatment. Tyreek is a very important player, but I think you don't want to just single out where it's just Tyreek. I think it's any player on your roster. If there could be a potential conflict or something, at least you want to just talk with them, talk through the potential issue that could arise. I'm not going to lie. I kind of like the fact that Chris Greer talked to Tyreek about it. Shows that he's okay with, discussing plans with their players, see where they're at, get their input on what the team needs are. How do you guys feel about that?
I got a far more cynical take, Ali. I must admit. Is that further proof that they not only do they go to Twitter to find out the temperature of the fan base and make their decisions, like we always think Twitter's running the team, right? But it just goes to show you that they literally think that Twitter is real. He hasn't caught up to the fact that it's
first of all, it's no longer Twitter.
That God is not real. So he thought that Tyreek and Apple actually had a real beef. You see what I'm saying?
But that beef didn't start out on Twitter. Well, it kind of started on Twitter.
Media,
but hold on, Color. Hold on. That it did initiate on Twitter. However, remember, Tyreek was the one being interviewed by several networks.
I get it.
And he's the one that made the verbal threat
Okay,
saying,
so
"I
let's
owe
throw
you,
in
boy."
all media, not just social media. But it's the same thing. It's like they actually think that that's real. That's why they think that people think a certain way about certain players because they really think Twitter's real, bro. And there's further proof of it. They're like, they literally thought there was a real problem. Like Eli and Tyreek don't chop it up after work and are all cool. You know what I mean? Like we all do. Like Crypto and I will go at it. You know what I mean? Or anybody else, like we all do on social media, and like we put it down for a second because it's all fake.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but don't you think that Chris Greer and the Miami Dolphins have a team of people that verify that there could be conflicts? You know
I
what I
would have
mean?
thought that they were up to speed, but remember, we're talking about boomers here, bro, that don't sit on the internet all day and learn the ins and outs. I mean, he's an NFL GM, bro. He's busy doing a lot of other stuff. You know what I mean?
I just want to remind everyone, as well as you, Color, that you're speculating. We don't know if there's really not any true beef or not. There could have been really beef there.
I would say this, boys. Okay.
Say what, Cap? Say it again. Say that.
I would say this. I would say that, I think it's a good job by Chris Greer to understand what's going on rather than just signing two guys that hate each other. You know what I'm saying? So that's at least him doing his due diligence. But did I hear that right? He said that Eli Apple is a dog, like he loves the guy or some shit like that.
That's
what
It's his dog. He said his dog, like they're buddies.
Yeah, that's what Tyreek said. That's what Tyreek said.
I thought you said that's what Chris Greer said. I was like, holy shit.
Greer, hold on. Chris Greer quoted Tyreek.
Okay.
That's what he was. It wasn't that Chris Greer said that. Chris Greer talked to Tyreek. This is what Tyreek said.
Gotcha. I thought Chris Greer was saying he's my guy. I was like, damn, I knew we were looking at him in the draft out here.
But outside of this,
he loved it, man.
Yeah, but going back to my original question though, because Color gave a different take of what he thinks happened here. And I understand where he's coming from, but I think that they are better than that. They have people that really can verify if there's some sort of beef or not. But my thing is, do you think it's good to see Chris Greer at least doing his due diligence and talking with his players about their personnel decisions before they make them? Like, how do you feel about that part? It doesn't have to be beef. Maybe it's like, I'm going to go sit down with Tua. I need to know what type of weapons that he thinks that he needs and find out where his mindset is so then I can figure out what our plan is. How do you guys feel about that if he did stuff like that? Do you think it's good, bad, indifferent?
Well, I thought that's what I was kind of getting across. I mean, if there's a legitimate gripe between two guys, putting them in the same locker room is not going to work out. So he knows that there was, whether it was just banter and all in good fun or not between Eli Apple and Tyreek Hill, he was smart enough to be aware of it with a guy that probably has a lot on his plate, let's be real, to even take something as petty as a Twitter beef and a media back and forth to make certain that, hey, we're looking to sign this guy. He's our guy. But before we do, all that other stuff was just banter, right? You don't dislike this guy. And I guarantee he expressed the same question to Eli Apple. So once every T is crossed and I is dotted before we make this contract a legitimate one. I mean, again, Chris Greer's free agent signings, for the most part, have not only worked out, they've worked out in spades as far as what we are paying people for. Whether it's a big signing like Tyreek Hill and it being worth every dime, or it's a pickup of a guy somewhere on a practice squad like a Zach Sealer. He's had mega success with stuff like this. And let's just hope that Eli Apple is the next in a long success story.
Definitely. I agree with what you're saying. Definitely. I can't wait to see what happens. I know a lot of people think that he's toast or he's not anything in this room at all. But that goes into the next segue of who we brought in that can really bring out the best potential out of all of our players, not just Eli Apple. And that's Vic Fangio. So in this SiriusXM interview, Chris Greer discussed the addition of Vic Fangio, who replaced Josh Boyer as the Dolphins defensive coordinator this offseason. Miami made Fangio the highest paid coordinator in the NFL to lure him to South Florida, and Greer has seen an immediate return on the investment. He goes on to say, my dad knew Vic and I've met Vic, but I didn't really know him, and I enjoyed getting to know him here the last few months. I'm learning just what he's looking for in players and how he approaches players and teaches players. I think our guys have responded well to Fangio. They're very excited. And I will tell you, El Cap, and you will witness this today, hopefully, as long as everything's going to the script so far, the defense has dominated both the first and second day of public training camp, right? And I will say that the secondary look like they're playing on all cylinders, in my opinion. And I definitely see the defensive front getting to the quarterback and causing disruptions. I definitely see it. I think bringing him in here was really what the defense needed. It's not so much bringing in top tier talent to be added. I mean, yeah, Ramsey is definitely a great pickup, and I think he's potentially is going to provide a lot to the Miami Dolphins once he can play. But I think the players that have been here, such as X, who had an off year, Noah, who we've been trying to get the best out of, even Cater Kahu is showing that he's taking it to the next level. Our front guys, all of them, I see getting better and better under Vic Fangio, and it's starting to show. What do you think about Chris Greer saying that he had met him, but he didn't know him? Do you think can you buy into that? I mean, is that kind of interesting to you?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, look, all these guys are aware of each other. There's a million connections amongst them, especially for Chris Greer, whose father was involved in all this GM and rosters and stuff like that. So, I mean, yeah, Chris Greer's been around the block, bro. It's one of the reasons why he's had success doing what he's doing, because he earned it the long and hard way. And, now with his time and opportunity, first of all, he's seen what didn't work for years with the Dolphins. So if he just applies that, he should be all right. Along with, it's a people business, man. It's all who you know and how you know it, how you can get in contact with them. Yeah, I want to sign somebody, but they might not have any reason to pick the phone up for me over someone else. Let's be real. Vic Fangio is a big fish in a free agent market. And while he's on a team consulting them in the playoffs in the Eagles, Chris Greer's able to lure him away to be on the when he's already in the Eagles, and they would have given him the same money and the same job, maybe a little more to stay there. But he chose different. I mean, people forget about that stuff, bro. I don't get it.
Yeah, I definitely understand. It is going to be very interesting. I think that the Dolphins were gifted Vic Fangio, and it's already showing across the board. We like to say, "Oh, Ramsey was the top, pickup in the offseason." No, it was Vic Fangio, in my opinion. I think he's the one that's
been something. I think this Vic Fangio has been something they've been working on for a few years, to be honest with you.
Yeah, this started when Mike McDaniel got hired, bro. We already knew he wanted to bring him here, so you had a whole year.
I would say it starts even before that. When they saw that Brian Flores and the Dolphins that season, it dissolved because it got real tense in the facilities between them, as as how things ended. That's when they started making their options on how they were going to change this team. defensively, and I know the stability was reached out for that. So it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, you're probably right. They probably had an idea who they wanted for a long time, and and it was just connecting the dots that way. Definitely, 100%. But let's keep it moving. So the stock report, Omar puts out his stock report in camp on the first couple of days of camp. The first day with pads didn't feature the fireworks he expected, anticipated, and often looked forward to. While there were instances of physicality, like when Eric Izukama pushed Javon Holland to the ground at the end of the reception that featured some run after the catch yardage. I don't think that was Izukama. I heard it was Noah that he pushed down to the ground. So I have to go back and see if I can find the highlight reel. But I heard it was Noah that he face planted.
Well, remember, you guys thought it was. I heard that someone thought it was Javon Holland, then said it was the other. I don't know. Maybe it was Javon Holland.
I'm going to have to find that highlight because I know it's out there, and actually zoom in and see what I can find out, see who it is. But I thought it was Noah that he face planted in this one that they're talking about. And here's another guy says, and when rookie nose tackle Brandon Pilley threw down Raheem Mostert to the ground and got chewed out for it. Damn. Red-shirted running back gets thrown down by the undrafted free agent. That's pretty impressive to me. In fact, speaking of Brandon Pilley, he was one of the 5 people I got their autograph in day one, just so you know. So he's a guy that I kind of...
He's the defensive tackle, correct?
Yeah, he's an undrafted free agent defensive tackle. He was taken... He's from USC, University of Southern California, the Trojans, and he's Samoan.
He's got a good opportunity to make this football team.
There's
not a lot of things.
Yeah, he's definitely has a motor. I kind of think that he can make the team. It's very possible. If anything, he's definitely going to be on our practice squad no matter what. But I think he has a decent chance. So let's keep it moving. The Miami Dolphins had a balanced, mild-tempered practice Monday, one that I'd label a draw because the offense won some rounds and defense won some rounds. Cornerback Justin Bethel, this is the top play, he's saying. Justin Bethel pulled down an interception on a Skylar Thompson pass that Izukama didn't fight for in the first 11-on-11 series. This was the second interception of training camp, but the other Kader Kuhu on Tua took place during 7-on-7s. So there's only been 2 interceptions in camp, and one was on a 7-on-7, and the other was in the 11s against Skylar. Let me stop right there. Does that concern you guys? You guys know the Vic Fangio defense is supposed to disrupt the offensive play, cause the turnovers, and so far in 2 days of camp, we've only have 2 turnovers. How do you guys feel about that? Is it underwhelming?
No, I'm not too concerned about it because we know this offense is coming into its own on a year 2. If anything, it's reassuring because defenses always start fast. We've been hearing about how the defense is wreaking havoc, but yet the offense is still putting it out in a high level. So I think it's reassuring. I think this team is the epitome of sharpening iron. So. But, Ali, I'm going to drop out. I'm going to try to conserve some of this battery. Color, I'm going to be sending you some text messages. I need you to text me back. Is Color watering his plants or something?
No, I had to take the dog out real quick.
Okay. I'm going to be texting you, Color. I'm going to try to conserve some of this battery.
Right on.
All right, fellas.
All right. Thanks, El Cap. Thank you for hanging out.
Yep. Later, fools.
Thanks. So, what do you think, Color? Do you think it's underwhelming with the amount of turnovers?
Last year, you mean?
No, this year. So far in the 2 practices, there's only been 2 turnovers. Like, is it underwhelming for you?
I don't know. I mean, you're not going to get fumbles because it's not full contact. And interceptions, I mean, who knows when they come. You know, like do they come after a sack a play that's counted a sack, or you know, people quitting on the play? I mean, it is practice. I haven't really been concerned about it or anything.
Yeah, I hear you. Do we know who had the orange jersey yesterday? Did we verify that?
I want to say it was. Oh, it was, Batman told me yesterday, and it slips my mind now. You still got me, right?
Yeah, I got you.
Batman told me yesterday, but it's slipping my mind now.
Yeah, shoot. I was trying to remember who it was. Because we're going to be talking about some of the top performers for yesterday and, where I think they're at. So let's keep it moving. So we're going to be talking about.
Oh, I know who it was. It was Raheem Mostert.
Raheem Mostert. Okay. All right. Well, and that's probably why they yelled at, him. He technically, if he had the orange jersey on, it wasn't red. So just saying. So let's keep it moving with the top performers. Big time top performer from what I'm hearing in camp so far, who's looked really solid, is David Long Jr., someone that has set the tone for the first day of pads, exerting the physicality. This is a hallmark of football, and it was Long. The Dolphins' new starting inside linebacker has been heating up as of late, and during practice Monday, he had about half a dozen would-be tackles or assists, and a couple of them were made behind the line of scrimmage. There was one hit stick tackle that concluded a Savon Ahmed run when he could all hear that we could all hear from the stands. So they're saying from the stands, the hit stick, you could hear it echoing. So, damn, that's good to hear. I'm really glad that David Long is really, putting in the work, showing what he's got right from the get-go. People were, some people in the fan base were underwhelmed by this pickup, but in a way, I think this is going to be a very sneaky pickup for the Miami Dolphins. So definitely shout out to David Long. Fan favorite, next guy on the list, Christian Wilkins color. Day after Wilkins delivers would-be sacks, it's at a rate where he's approaching double-digit sack production in 5 practices. Can you believe that color? And it's clear would-be sack leader. Keep in mind, Jalen Phillips missed 2 days. That is good for the Dolphins football team, but had for the Dolphins bookkeepers and contract negotiators, because if Wilkins is this productive when the regular season arrives, he might shatter a new 5-year, $105.5 million contract that Quinnen Williams got from the New York Jets a couple of weeks ago. Wilkins has been this defensive top performer so far, which is good to see because there was a theory that Vic Fangio's style of front 7 play wouldn't fit Wilkins' skill sets. Ain't that the truth, color? I have been saying it for a while that the longer the Miami Dolphins wait, the more expensive this could get, especially if he starts putting up the numbers when this regular season starts. If he starts getting sacks early and often and starts setting a pace to crush whatever amount of sacks he's had in the past, so which I want to say, he hasn't had very many, so it's probably really easy to do. But if he gets double-digit sacks, color, then we're on a complete different world than we were before. I feel like Kevin Costner in Draft Day. We live in a complete different world now. Now you owe me the whole bag. That's basically what he's going to be saying. How do you feel about that?
Oh, it's the game. It's the bet you make. I mean, we're just betting on the fact that he's not going to get all those sacks because he hasn't thus far. So it's really just a gamble, and it could also backfire on him too if he can't produce.
Yeah.
He's also relying on the team to make sure he's in a position that facilitates him producing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. There is that thought process that he didn't fit this system, right? And I kind of bought into that. But if he's already outperforming right now just in practice, I think the biggest test is when we see it in a real game. And if he can actually perform well, then we're all wrong. You know what I mean? He proved us, the critics and speculation wrong. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So that's impressive. I like players that do that. If you think, oh, you don't think I can do this, and he proves me wrong, gives me more mad respect for the guy. You know what I mean? I already have all the respect for him, but at the same time, I'm like, damn,
Yeah, and I mean,
impressive.
you can credit him for being in the right place at the right time in practice, but really, if you're talking about would-be sacks, I mean, what kind of even number is that? I mean, would-be sack, it's like saying would-be tackle. Well, it would be a tackle as long as the guy doesn't break the tackle. I mean, a hit doesn't just mean tackle. You know, being in front of the guy doesn't mean would-be tackle. You don't know if that guy was going to make the tackle. And if you look at our team and the way our linebackers tackle, you can't be sure they're going to make that tackle. So I don't buy into this would-be tackles business as far as if I'm the bookkeeper, if I'm the treasurer. I don't pay no attention to that, to be honest with you.
Definitely.
I mean, you got offensive linemen out here. They're not good. Full speed, full power, whatever. They're not. How many of those would-be sacks would be different if it was full game speed and the offensive line, the offensive lineman, wasn't also in practice with minimal pads,
Yeah, definitely. I agree. You're absolutely right. Let's keep it moving, Color. First off, before we keep moving, were you able to answer El Capitan and his questions? Yeah, he sent text to you, or
no, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. I'm gonna talk about the next guy if you want to listen while I'm doing this. So the number 3 top performer that Omar has listed is offensive tackle Kendall Lamb. Now, I was surprised by this because there's been previous comments by Omar saying that he was not really good and very underwhelming and does not believe he belongs to be a left tackle or anything like that. This is what he had to say. I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me at first. Training camp practice of 2023. That's when Lamb was out there dominating in unpadded practice, and I listed him as my top performer for the day. The next day, Lamb was moved to right tackle as the offensive line continued to cross-train everyone, and there was a little slippage. Then came Friday's 12-sack embarrassment on practice when Lamb was a co-conspirator for the offensive line failures. My obsession began to wane, but right when I think I'm falling out of not love, Lamb draws me back in with a strong day in Miami's first padded practice. He opened up running lanes, stonewalled pass rushers, even pancaked Bradley Chubb. Wow. On one snap. Maybe Chubb slipped. You can definitely see why this 8-year veteran has made a team's initial 53-man roster every year of his career, despite being an undrafted player. I love to hear this, Color. This is great news. This is already telling me that we definitely have depth on the offensive line, and a guy that can fill in when needed. And he doesn't mind getting a little physical if he's really pancaking and stonewalling defenders. I'm all down with it. What do you think about Kendall Lamb? Like, what do you think?
I actually thought he had a good showing in his short amount of time he played with us last year. Before I think he got injured fairly early on, but yeah, I mean the guy's stout. As soon as he left the game, we had guys up in our quarterback's face up the center. So I mean, he is a noticeable subtraction if he's not there. That I can say. Yeah,
definitely. I agree. Now, the next guy we're going to talk about is what Omar is saying his stock is down. Now, I don't always disagree with Omar on some takes. There are times I do, I'll say, but when I do, when it's this bad of a take, I really get passionate about it. And I think I might get passionate about what he's saying because I disagree with him wholeheartedly.
Gappy's getting upset.
Yeah, Daddy's getting upset right now, and he's not really happy. All right, you're telling me the wrong thing, right? And I'll tell you why. Because I was actually there on Monday, and I've watched videos of practice from yesterday, and what people have stated. I'm going to call bullshit on this take. All right. He's saying that Cam Smith's stock is down, Color. Can you believe this? All right. Smith, the Dolphins' 2023 second-round pick, had only had one bad day of practice. So only one day of practice that's been bad. And that occurred last week when Braxton Berrios beat him for a touchdown from Skylar Thompson. But the South Carolina standout was in position to deliver 2 interceptions Monday and ended up with a goose egg. One was a phenomenal deflection of a pass to Berrios, but it could have been an interception. This isn't criticism of Smith because he's been solid, but if he wants to be viewed as a legitimate contender to replace Jalen Ramsey as the starter paired with Xavier Howard, he needs to turn his pass breakups into interceptions. PBUs are cool, but interceptions get players paid and promoted. Okay, he makes up for it on the end part of his take. I do agree with him in the sense that interceptions are sexy. It's what gets players paid, and he does need to turn it up a bit in that sense. But I don't think he needs to turn it up the interceptions, so to speak, to be considered the number 2 across from Xavier Howard. All right, I think Omar is a little bit in his feelings because he's such an Xavier Howard fan, and he doesn't want to see his replacement get better highlights than Xavier Howard. That's my opinion. No, I could be wrong. Just joking, but I don't know what Omar is thinking there. But I do want to say that's the one part of the game he does need to work on. I will agree on that. But beyond that, Cam Smith in practice and in person has impressed me. And I said it yesterday. He's going to be something special. You have that gut feeling when you watch him on the field. Your skin starts to tighten up, and you get these goosebumps and everything. Color. That's what I get when I watch him. Just not even just in 11-on-11s, but in practice, in the drills he was doing some stuff that just impressed me. The way he moved, the way he covered the receiver. He blanketed them like there was like no separation they could get. Yeah, one guy got away from him. Okay, it happens. That's happened to X. That's happened to Ramsey. You don't see anybody else going after them for that. You know what I mean? This kid, I think, is going to be the steal of the draft when it's all said and done. I made a crazy take on Drive Time last night that I feel that when it's all said and done, being under Vic Fangio and the ability that this kid has, if he puts it together, I said he could be even better than Sauce Gardner. Yeah, I made that crazy take, everyone. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, this kid, way, way underrated. I can't believe he dropped to us in the second round based on what I'm seeing him doing in camp. The guy does not look like a rookie at all. He looks like a seasoned veteran. What do you think, Colin?
I absolutely agree. I think that it's a little hypercritical when you're talking about training camp for a rookie being in position to make an interception but not making it and only getting a pass deflection. I mean, that's being a little hypercritical on a rookie. The fact that he was in position to make it, half the rookies haven't even figured out how to open a bank account yet. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it is being a little hypercritical of a rookie. I think he's been overall, his performance has been standout. And, we're really stacked in the DB room. So it's not like he probably won't be a day one starter, but I think 20 some other teams and he's a day one starter, man. He fits the bill.
I'm going to disagree with you because outside of Kader Kahu, who else is good there that's better than him, to be honest? Because don't tell me it's no.
Well, I just mean that the debate could be had as to whether he should start as a rookie. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think I think he has the ability to, but if there wasn't a bunch of veterans that were average to above average, he would be a day one starter. But I think there's a certain amount of, hey, you're also still a rookie and our veterans are top notch. Yeah, he may be better than a couple of them. I get what you're saying, but they are themselves top notch. And so why take the chance? You know what I mean? Unless you're holding the bag going, oh, well, rookie mistakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely understand. I definitely hear where you're coming from, Color. For me, it's just the fact that I think the Miami Dolphins need to put him in position to succeed, and they need him to play above and beyond to be that number 2 starter. Because even though I love Kader Kuhu, and I think Kader Kuhu can definitely play the boundary, I think he's going to be better served inside as the slot corner.
Yeah, because we could find out when full speed starts. We could find out that Cam Smith can't tackle worth of crap. I mean, that could be.
That's true. I mean, you are right. That could be a thing.
I'm not predicting that. I'm just saying that we don't know, that there are some unknowns still. But based on what we've seen, if that's all we had to go on, I'd put him in front.
Yeah, that's true. All, that is true, because technically in camp, being the first day in pads, they're still not going full speed. So you're right.
Right. They're not really lighting each other up,
Yeah. I'll just say right now, what I've seen, the kid he's gotten under my skin, and I think he's the guy. You know what I mean? Right. In my opinion, I talked about it. They were doing this red zone tip drill where they're either picking it off or tipping the ball in the end zone, right, to get it out of the away from the receivers. And he did this thing where the ball was thrown behind him, kind of, and in midair he spun around and was able to pick the ball off and land, and he made it look so natural. You know what I mean? His movement on the field when he was blanketing like guys like Tyreek and Cedric Wilson and people like that, he was literally giving them no inch, bro. No inch. Like he was the way he moves and how his body reacts, his way to make adjustments. It looks so natural, like his body was meant to do that. You know what I mean? It just looks fluid for him, and that's impressive to me. So yeah, get the interceptions up, and then you can really get paid. I agree, but right now he's a solid number 2 in my opinion. From what I'm seeing, Kader Kuhu has taken it to the next level too. So I'm not worried. For Ramsey not being here at this point, I'm not worried. Color, I'm not worried at this point. So that's what I will definitely say. Any final thoughts on that before we move on?
No, not that I can think of right off the top of my head.
All right. Well, it's currently, we'll do a weather update. We'll do a quick TFTG network commercial here, and then we'll move on to the last part we're going to talk about. So currently it's 82 degrees and sunny. It's now a high of 89 today is what they're saying, Color. Let me see if there's any other updates. Yeah, it still feels like 91. They're saying this morning is going to be nothing but sunshine. So make sure you bring water, Color. Water is going to be key for you. What else? 83% humidity currently. But the afternoon showers and thunderstorms will be in the afternoon, just so you know. So as practice ends, that's when it might start raining, just so you know. All right, let's do a quick commercial break, and I'll be right back.
Get ready to dive into a new world of online shopping with the Fins Tailgate. Whether you're a die-hard sports fan or just looking for the latest fashion trends, we've got you covered. With a wide variety of products from your favorite sports teams to stylish accessories and home decor, we're your one-stop shop for all things tailgate. Our easy-to-use website and hassle-free checkout process make shopping with us a breeze. Plus, with frequent sales and discounts, you won't want to shop anywhere else. So come on in and join the party at the Fins Tailgate, your new go-to destination for all things tailgate.
Never beat, I've been down and I reappear. You got some money on the line, you better put it here. Rolling in and doing that work. Check priorities, I'm doing that first. Checks big and I'm sure that hurts, but it's checkmate, we ain't selling short, know the work. Ain't nowhere to hide, you ain't gotta see me come and keep me on your mind, cause I be on the way. Yeah. You know I be on the way. I'm a for the bags. If they said I couldn't have, get the team. I got a vision for the things you ain't believe. And here's the motto, hard work is over everything. It's that comeback. I'm calling plays, hit the pass, then the run back. Yeah, I'm far ahead and gotta run laps. But we ain't letting up, we never done that. Ain't nowhere to hide. You ain't gotta see me come and keep me on your mind.
All right, Tim, we're back. That's right. Thank you for hanging out with us on that commercial break brought to you by TFTGnetwork.com, your one-stop shop for TFTG everything. Check it out if you get a chance. There's some cool stuff there. Let's keep it moving, though. Color, you still with me?
I am.
All right. So I just want to do a quick shout out to everybody in the chat. I know there's been quite a few people in here. We didn't really do shout outs this morning. Just trying to get started early and quick. But shout out to Trucker Sean, Flava J in the house, Michael K is in the house with his 2.0 IQ. And then you have Trucker, I already said Trucker Sean, so rock and roll. Who else do we got? Joe Levesque is here. What's up, Joe? Kenna Rankin, how you doing, bud? Brian's Brains, what's up, everybody? Aaron Green's in the house. How's it going? BMCD, how's it going?
Well, shit, we got Brian's Brains in the house. We're smart this morning, bro.
Yeah, Steve Hopeful is here, as he is every morning, so thank you for joining the show, Steve Hopeful. Delusional Patriots fan. What else do we got in here? Ryan AP, how's it going? Morning. Adam Sadowski, how's it going? Fins up. Is that everybody, or is there more people? New Finland is here. What's up, man? How you doing? Welcome to the show. Triple S Podcast. Haven't seen you in a while, man. How you been? Lewis, good morning. Money Mitch, how's it going? Finn's Cove. Concrete, how's it going, Concrete? How you doing? Finn's Cove says Omar doesn't care about X. Yeah, you might be right. You might be right. It might be a job to him. I just think I was really just making a sarcastic, joking comment about it. Airborne J, how's it going? Welcome to the show. Manza Chill, how's it going? And Andres Negron, how's it going? Good morning. Good morning to all of you. Thank you for joining. This is the second hour of Top of the Tailgate. We were talking about tidbits that were provided on the Sirius XM radio show with Chris Greer. We also talked about Omar Kelly and his thoughts about the top performers and who's stock down. I honestly don't think Cam Smith was the best option for stock down. I could think of quite a few other people that might have been a better option. You know, like, for example, we haven't seen very much of the tight end group. I kind of think the tight end group as a group, the stock is down. What do you think? Color.
Yeah, we haven't gotten any reports from them. Blocking, catching, nothing. I'm going to probably be having a look at them today.
Yeah, the only thing I saw, Color, from the tight ends, there's a highlight reel where it kind of looks like Durham Smythe lined up similar to what Gesicki used to. Mm-hmm. Runs up the middle, turns around, catches the ball. It was about a 12-yard pass, kind of looked like, sort of. So definitely, that's the only thing I saw from Durham Smythe. Beyond that, everybody else, I haven't really seen anything from them. You know, to be honest. Good morning, Color and Ali and everyone. According to Canes Dolphins 89. Good morning to you, sir. Definitely. So that's my biggest thing today. Please watch the tight end group. I'd really appreciate that. Yeah. So I don't believe, he hasn't, Mike McDaniel has not given his presser for this morning yet, but we're going to actually review Color, his presser from yesterday. And let me just get this set up here real quick. One moment. Okay. All right. And just let me know if you can hear the volume, Color, if you can just let me know, okay? And we're going to commentary his presser from yesterday.
That's a nice way to say roast.
Roast? All right. There we go. You ready?
I am.
Have you guys been here the entire time?
I can hear it.
No, I didn't get to speak. You guys iced me out yesterday. You guys make these schedules up where I'm unable to talk to you all the time. So I'd like to first talk about Zach Thomas. I mean, it's so cool to see guys get Hall of Fame and to get inducted into the Hall of Fame for me because it's impossible for me not to view it and think about the lifetime achievement that is and what goes into that. And then specifically having Zach Zach in the building, able to talk to the team. I feel honored to be a part of an organization that has a player like that. And it really, you could tell the players on the field knew what they were looking at and how and what that is to actually accomplish something like that. And, since you guys brought it up, the Hall of Fame, I'd also like to double down and, one of the most influential coaches in my career, but probably there's got to be, it's in the teens or the low teens of offenses right now that are heavily influenced directly by Mike Shanahan. It blows my mind that he's out, but I know the process, and I really hope this is this next coming year is his year, because you really can't look at offensive football currently right now without looking at him as the father and or grandfather of that offense. So.
All right, I want to make some comments. First of all, if you weren't there at the first day at camp, Zach Thomas came out and gave basically a kickoff speech to the crowd, and it was a hell of a speech. He had me hyped. What do you think, Color? You thought it was pretty dope, right, what Zach Thomas did? Color, can you hear me? Color, can you hear me? You're on mute, Color.
I can. Sorry about that. I'm just trying. I got my hands full trying to get ready to go. Sorry about that.
It's okay. So what did you think about Zach Thomas? He did a kickoff speech at camp. Got the crowd riled up. He thanked everybody and talked about training camp. What did you think about Zach Thomas? Was it really cool?
The old man's looking good, man. Looks spry. He looks like he could have thrown on some pads and hit the bag a few times.
To be 100% honest, that's 100% true, bro. He's still in great shape. He looked like he could throw pads on and play with them, to be honest. To be 100% honest.
He looked like he's somebody's really cool dad. That's what he looked like.
Definitely. I'm very happy to see that McDaniel paid homage to Zach Thomas and everybody with the Hall of Fame and everything, and how cool that is, and where what he's achieved. My next question is, why did he bring up Mike Shanahan? Is it because of what what's his name, Peyton has done for Nathaniel Hackett? Is because there was some disrespect there? Did he feel like he had to, give some, kudos to Mike Shanahan? Like, what do you think about that? Color, you might be on mute again.
I'm sorry.
Did you hear what? So the second part of it, he talks about Mike Shanahan and how they've influenced offenses around the league, and how he hopes that he thinks Mike Shanahan's going to make his mark again this year or whatever. Like, basically, he was, giving all the kudos to Mike Shanahan. Why did he feel the need to do that? Is it because Peyton and his issues with Nathaniel Hackett, like the comments that were made? Did he feel like he wants to be different? Or is it just like he actually feels this way about Mike Shanahan? Like, what was the whole point of bringing it up? That's my question.
Right.
You know what I mean? The biggest news is that Peyton disrespected Nathaniel Hackett, and even Aaron Rodgers is coming to his defense. You know what I mean? For me, I just want to know, like, you know, is it is it Mike Shanahan's birthday, or what's the reason you had to bring it up with Zach Thomas? What did one have to do with the other?
I know that's kind of odd. Except that Zach Thomas probably sacked his quarterback quite a bit.
That's true. That might be what it is. I don't know. We'll see. Let's keep it moving though. We'll keep it listen, see what else he had to say. That was just an interesting tidbit.
Like, if you want to go directly from working with Mike Shanahan and that offensive scheme, it's more than 10 approaching half when you really look at it. You could do it like a ancestral tree, and I'm sure you could get about maybe 12, 13, 14. It's pretty amazing, and I think for whatever reason, maybe people have lost sight of that. Hopefully they haven't, because that is a monumental influence that deserves to be in the Hall of Fame with Zach.
Do you have any update on Keon Crossan and whether he'll be out long term?
Keon's a great guy to report on with regard to injuries, because he heals like he runs. Fast. So I think
that's some cap right there. He don't heal like he runs. In fact, if memory serves me right, quite a few times he was getting burnt on the boundary. What do you think, Color? Color?
Yes, sir.
Keon Crossan, do you think he's very fast?
I hadn't zoned in on him, but he doesn't strike me as somebody that I see as fast. He doesn't stand out to me, no.
Yeah, I remember him getting burnt on the boundary a few times. That really cost us certain situations, or almost cost us certain situations. So I'm not going to say that he heals like he runs, because I disagree with that. But we'll see. We'll see what he says. Let's see what he further says.
When he's out, thankfully he's never had a major injury, but when he has certain things ailing him, he does everything he can to get back, and he is a very fast healer. I think I've been on record to be like one of the fastest healers I've ever been around.
So it's not a major thing.
No,
Right.
Like we haven't had a chance to talk to you since Jalen had the procedure. What were you able to say to him afterwards? It's been reported it's been a full repair. Might have him out till December. What kind of timeline do you have for him now?
Well, wasn't a 4 question. Okay, but I get it. The talking to Jalen was after his surgery, was talking to a really drowsy person, but he was in good spirits, and I think the surgery went about as well as it could have. So we're elated about that, and in terms of where his mindset is at, you couldn't. He's a self-proclaimed alien, and he couldn't have a better mindset with which to attack this process. He's immediately, tell me whatever the timeline is, and I'm going to beat it by a month. What I like about that is, thankfully, we have a training staff that is just puts the really does a good job of protecting players against themselves. So I know that he won't be rushed. So that combination of prudence and the players' aggressiveness for this stuff, I know one thing: when Jalen's back on the field this year, he's going to be 100% Jalen Ramsey. So I'm fired up about that. And now, as a team, we make sure that the team he comes back to does everything they can to be the best version of themselves possible.
So very interesting. Self-proclaimed alien Jalen Ramsey says that whatever the timeline is, I'm going to beat it by a month. So based on that, he's saying that he'll be ready in November, which is a month ahead of the playoff push. I'm very optimistic that he could make that happen. I've read quite a few areas that, depending on the person, not necessarily, I do understand he got a full meniscus repair. I understand that, but depending on the person, there's been people to come back from this after 8 weeks. You know what I mean? 6 to 8 weeks. And we're only, today's August 1st, color. And our season really doesn't start till September 12th or something like that.
Yep.
It's like, around that time frame. So,
and I tell you, if he rehabilitates anything close with the effort that he likes to play with, he's going to be on the short end of that time frame. I guarantee that.
Yeah, so anything before December for me is a win. But if he's able to come back, beginning of November or even mid-October, wow, that's very impressive, very impressive. Shout out to Jalen Ramsey.
The only thing I would pump the brakes on is when McDaniel said when he gets back, he's going to be 100%. Well, that's another way to say he's not going to be back until he's 100%. So we could get a lot of delays when it gets close. Well, he's only 95. I told you 100,
Yeah.
Be another week, or whatever. But other than that, I mean, yeah, I think you're right. I think Ramsey's a dog. He's got the dog in him, and I think that translates all the way to rehabilitation and training too, and healing. It all goes hand in hand, man. It's mind, body, and spirit. Mind, body, and soul.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's gonna be very impressive. What he does in rehab to get back. Wasn't there? And I apologize if I'm not the right person. But didn't Brent Grimes have like a really bad injury and he like worked his ass off and came back out of nowhere ahead of timeline?
Sure, absolutely.
I think he had like an Achilles injury or something like that he was able to come back from.
Well, the body, when you're athletic, the body, these estimations that doctors give are totally skewed. I mean, I had a shattered wrist from a car accident and had 4 pins in my arm and a fixator, and it was supposed to be on for 6 weeks, and it was. However, after about 3.5 weeks, I was doing push-ups on my fingertips with it on. Now, the doctor didn't like to hear that, but I felt comfortable doing it. You know what I mean? And I wasn't even supposed to be evaluated to have it off until 5 or 6 weeks. You know what I mean? So, the body is an amazing thing when you push it.
Yeah. Mansa Chill says, if we dominate without Ramsey, imagine when he comes back. Absolutely true, man. And that's why I'm okay with this, because of the stuff that I've seen from Cam Smith and Kader Kahu. We have the guys that can hold it down here, right? We definitely do. For me, you just hold it down long enough until Ramsey comes back, and you have a fresh Ramsey who can be the true Jalen Ramsey. Holy crap, what a hell of a playoff push that people are in store for, especially when we play 5 out of the last 7 games at home. You know what I mean? So it's going to be very, very impressive. Let's keep it moving, color.
To that, did the doctors find any additional knee damage outside of the meniscus when doing the surgery?
No, we were thankful, very thankful and fortunate that there was no other knee damage.
Into all other things, I do have 2 housekeeping questions. The first is the 3-day practice break schedule that you have. That seems to be new. I want to know what the origin or thought process was behind that. And before you answer that, I'm so excited. Okay. Also, I've noticed a rhythm to your practice where when you go 11-11s, the reserves are the first guys out there, and then your starters.
Okay, so, I love both questions. I guess I'll do the latter. I always remember that one the best. And then you have to remind me of the first one. Okay, so in terms of the structure of practice, it won't always be that way, but, you have the starting quarterback and those who are working with the starters that day. And then you kind of split the rest of the team to two different groups. Well, not all positions have two different groups. So there's overlap in reps between those two groups. So we sandwich the ones or the starting quarterback and who's working with them that day in between. So that because from an athletic performance standpoint, from a injury prevention standpoint, and just a competitive standpoint, it's not quite fair to, depending on where we're at in our progression as we ramp up to get ready for games, it's not fair for a guy to be judged on his 6th rep consecutively out of 7 against guys that have 4 in a row. So it's overall for the team health. You'll do that so that guys don't have excessive reps that accumulate. It won't always be the case. There's sometimes that depending on how the periods are structured, that you want the starting quarterback out there to set the tone. But when we do that, it's for that splitting up of reps. And then the first.
I just want to comment to this. So there's been speculation on why we've seen like Mike White one day or Skyler the next day get more reps or whatever. They have them split up into groups, and what they're doing is because of the overlap, they're trying to spread the reps around, as well as having people work with certain people so they can get the most work for the majority rather than the minority. And I kind of like that. What do you think, Color, about what he said about how they're split up in the practice structure?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's completely obvious. I mean, it's so obvious to me when people are jerking their knee because, what we've seen out of practice the past couple of days, Mike White taking the lead role at QB2. I mean, we just got the guy in the building. Mm-hmm. We brought him in to see if he can be QB2. Yeah. I don't think a decision has been made just because we see the guy taking QB2 reps for a couple days in a row. I mean, Skyler's been in this offense for a year. He's played it in a playoff game. I don't think there's anything the sky's not falling for Skyler because Mike White's been the focus the past couple days. It's very likely that the focus shifts back over to Skyler for a day or two. We don't know. We don't know what Mike McDaniel's agenda is, and he's basically expressing that right now, and it makes complete sense to me.
Even Skyler himself in an interview stated that now that he's in his 2nd year, the coaching staff have given him a little bit of an opportunity to relax because he's already has the continuity with a lot of the other players. He's been in the system. He has better understanding of the playbook. It allows him to, focus on himself a little bit more. I kind of, it's okay.
Yeah, the competition can't start until Mike White is on the same page as every other quarterback in our room. He just came from another team.
Yeah,
the language is different. Everything's, a lot of things are different. Once he's up to that speed, then the competition actually begins.
See, last year they had to kind of fast track Skyler along, right? This year it's Mike White's turn to be fast tracked a little bit, right?
Exactly. And we saw sort of a similar rotation last year with Teddy.
Yeah.
I mean, Skyler was getting a lot of, QB2 reps when we were at camp. At least I remember, that didn't mean Teddy Bridgewater was QB3. It just meant, hey, we need to know what we got here for this guy in this role.
Mm-hmm. So God Soldier says, having 3 QBs is dumb. We need our QB1 and QB2 getting the reps. Why did we go get Mike White? I will tell you why. Because the Miami Dolphins knew that a rule was coming out that allows teams to carry 3 QBs. The thing is that regardless of how you feel about it, most teams are now going to have 3 QBs on their roster, specifically because of what happened to the 49ers. The NFL doesn't want to see that again, especially in a playoff game. So That's why they're going to have 3 QBs. Everyone's going to do it, not just us. So it's part of the new NFL rules. Let's keep it moving, Color, because we're limited on time. We're only going until 8 o'clock, so I want to keep it going.
Question. I told you I was going to black out. Okay, so the with the initial, really with the CBA derived off days that we do believe in, during the season, you never practice more than 3 days in a row. And you're practicing 3 days in a row. Then you get your Saturday before the game where you get a little rest, and then you perform on Sunday. So we kind of you try to make things as game-like, or you try to model everything after what you're going to be doing all year. So it doesn't really make any sense to practice 4 days in a row once or twice early in the season when you're never playing 4 days in a row.
So much has been talked about the heat this year all over the country, especially down here. Do you approach it differently, coaching in this climate as opposed to other climates you were in? First of all, when you're out there, and just how aware and how are you more aware because you're down here of watching them because of it?
It is a substantial difference, and I think I'd be silly not to account for that. That's why you always see me in long sleeves at practice, is because I'm not running around, but I'm trying to be aware of how hot it is. So I'm not sure if scientifically it's the same, but for whether it's placebo or fact, that's kind of what I do, because you try to take accountability for things that on our side we can prevent. And the sun exposure is real, but it's also something that you want to. It's not like you want to avoid it, because if you get used to that type of heat, you can have a competitive advantage when you play in the heat, which we play in a lot. So you have to be very mindful. It has taken the certain amount of reps that I was used to per practice in San Francisco can't be the same exact intensity and reps. You have to be a little creative. You have to be mindful. You have to build up to things. Otherwise, you're going to if you have people don't understand how accumulation of soft tissue injuries, what that does to an entire team. Not only do you, is that person out, but then you stress the other players within that position group. And then you all of a sudden you have a skeleton of what your team started like. So I have to be very mindful, and I take that serious. And we have a great training and performance staff that gives me the information that can put our best foot forward, because I don't want to put players in harm's way that way.
All right, I want to comment this real quick, because someone here in the chat, and I forget who it was, shout out to you, brought up about him wearing a hoodie and sweatshirt in South Florida. You know what I mean? Like, what the hell is this guy thinking, right? Well, I know some of you say you've never been to Miami. Well, if you've been to Miami, you would know that the humidity is crazy, and the heat is a big factor in Miami. And even it being in the stands, being, under the overhang, in the shade or whatever, I'm sweating to death as a fan. I got dripping sweat up and down my body. I'm already starting to get crotch rot and all that stuff. And you get all icky and everything. You know what I'm talking about, Color. You were in the heat last season on the other side of the field in the first game, which honestly was the hottest game that season. You know what I'm talking about, right, Color?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Even the other day, it was like not unbearably hot. It was actually a fairly cool day not cool, but it was dry.
It was drier.
But still, it was like, if you're sitting out there, bro, it didn't take you long when you're standing out there to get autographs to remember that it was South Florida, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't take long at all, man.
So
And on some of
NFL,
them days, you could be up under the shade, soaking wet, and just cooking.
yeah, you could be soaking wet and cooking and everything. Well, imagine if you're on the sideline with no shade above you, right? And you're trying to coach a game with all the sweat and everything dripping down your face. Because you're having to wear the headphones, your ears are starting to sweat and you're getting all icky. It starts messing with your mentality and your thought process and everything. So for him to actually do this, to feel what our players feel, I kind of think it's training for him and getting him ready for that heat. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like training for the coach in a sense. That's the way I'm looking at it. But it also helps him understand what the players are going through, so he kind of gets an idea of what they should do. Maybe the practice needs a break. Maybe he needs everyone to go drink water. There could be a lot of different things. That they use that knowledge for. NFL is saying that there's no stadium. No shade in my stadium. Stop, Ali. Yes, there's shade in the stadium. It's an overhang that goes over the entire stadium. The only side that really doesn't, unfortunately, that gets more of the sun is the away side. That's not my fault. I'm in the shade when I watch games. Color knows that. He's been to my team.
Our fault.
Yeah, I guess. But that's kind of what I think why he wears the hoodie. And he's not the only coach that does this. Being from the north in a sense, during the summer in the northern states such as Ohio, and even when you get to Pennsylvania and even New York, the summer heat is not humid, but it's a dry heat. So in my opinion, I don't even like dry heat. I'd rather be in the humidity than the dry heat personally. And you see coaches like Coach Belichick wearing hoodies, full-blown sweatshirts 24/7.
The other thing too, Ali, is even in like where it gets hot and humid, like in Missouri, it gets just as humid there, and it's really muggy and gross.
Yeah.
But as soon as the sun goes down, you're like, oh, nice. Here, it's just starting to get even more muggy right when the sun's going down. It go to 10, 11, 12 at night, man, and it's like, come on.
And in addition to it, this isn't the first year that this guy's been coaching, man. Even last year, the entire season, I don't know if you noticed at training camp and practices, he was wearing a hoodie anyway. Nobody said anything then. Why are you saying something now? Just saying, it's kind of interesting that people, are picking up on that just now. But let's keep it moving, Color, because we only got about.
I think the hoodie's got built-in refrigeration that we all don't know about.
Maybe, it's very possible, but I don't know. I think what he was saying about the scientific part of it, I think it can be beneficial at some point. So with the knowledge of it. So let's keep it going.
A fruit. Eli Apple. You did? Well, I mean, you set me up because you didn't say what the vision. I think more often than not, my vision for players is to give them as many competitive opportunities and let them tell me who they are. It's otherwise, why are we having all these practices? And I think players in this organization specifically, and in the way that the combination of myself and Chris work, they know that if they outperform someone, they will get a job. And so you allow people to compete and allow the competition and everything that makes them who they are. You allow that to speak for itself, and you try not to get too many preconceived notions. I was pumped to be able to add him, just because competition makes everyone better. So he's started out, as far as I know, there's been no negative tweets to Tyreek. And no, it's been great. I think we're he was able to get into and get involved yesterday, even before he had a nameplate on his jersey, and so he was ready to start the process to try to be on this team, and all of his teammates welcomed him with open arms.
Guys are coming on today, right?
Yes.
What does that tell you about the O-line? Does that give you a better look? And what have you seen so far?
So, you try to really, one of the arts of good teams are they're able to find the skill with which to practice without pads. That's very beneficial for the majority of the season. However, it is a game that is played with leverage and pads. You feel like you have a complete, assessment of how someone plays. There's certain players at certain positions that you hold a cat. You're like, well, you still have to see it with pads on because it does change to a degree. That doesn't make those other practices less significant. It's more that you're looking for any sort of alteration from a certain guy in his play when the pads come on, expecting it to be similar, but it's not going to be exactly similar. So it's the best. Football is a padded game. You wear shoulder pads in, so the ideal way to evaluate football players playing football is in pads like they're going to be.
Thank you, Captain Obvious. No, I'm just kidding. So, Color, he talked about Eli Apple. He was able to participate without having his nameplate, which I didn't even know he was on the field. So, that was pretty impressive.
So the vision and stuff, and I love this guy, bro. He's so baked, man. He is so freaking baked. He's more baked than I am this morning, man. Dang.
Yeah, he doesn't want to give out anything. I get it. So here's my thing with what I find interesting. The Eli Apple contract money that is involved with signing him has not been released. I can't find it anywhere. Somebody said $3.5 million. I checked. That was with Cincinnati Bengals. Somebody said $1.2 million. I haven't found that anywhere. I don't know how much he's getting in his contract. So that's kind of interesting. Number two, looking at PFF grades, if you take that into account, he's no better than Noah. He's like slightly better, like 0.5% better than Noah when it comes to his PFF grade, right? I think no matter what, we needed to bring in people to see where we're at with depth. And I truly believe the Miami Dolphins probably brought him in for next to nothing. So he could even be a camp body. It's very possible. When it comes to Eli Apple, I think they just made a move because they had to, because of Ramsey going down. So they wanted to be able to have enough players to evaluate, to be able to see where players are at.
I'd have probably went with Roby myself, but it is 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Yeah, I mean, and if Vic Fangio can get Eli Apple to perform, rock and roll. I'm not gonna hate on it, bro. I mean, we say that he's gonna get Noah to perform. Why can't he get Eli Apple to perform? I've been saying it all week. I'm not trying to defend Eli Apple. I know it hasn't worked out, unfortunately. He had an illustrious college career that was very successful, and why it hasn't worked out in the professional game, I'm not really sure. But the guy has been to an AFC championship game, so rock and roll, and he has some experience. And we tend to sign people at the on the eve of camp that has the experience. We signed Sony Michel. He had Super Bowl and NFC championship experience. You know what I mean? We're bringing this guy, and he has experience. So I'm hearing. So Knight is saying, or Steve, I should say, is saying that he's somewhere between 1.7 and 2.1. Yeah, that could be very possible. I thought we got him for the veterans minimum, which I want to say is about 1.2 million. If they gave him a little bit extra, maybe it's only like a couple 100,000 guaranteed, and then they can walk away from him. That's not a big deal to me. So we'll see. We'll see what it is when it finally comes out. I'm just interesting that it hasn't come out yet. That's basically where I'm at with that. What was the other thing he talked about, Color?
So like the vision and no, I'm kidding. I mean, that was like 30 minutes ago, bro. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, that's pretty much all he covered.
Okay, let's keep it moving.
Be on game days.
We talked about a little bit this offseason. Talked about how much Tua has done to prepare himself. Mm-hmm. When he got into martial arts, was that his idea? Was it your idea? Was it collaborative? And how did that process sort of play out?
So, it kind of makes me happy that I can't, I can't really give credit to one person's idea, because it, you know, I think the culture around here, as it. Best there, and spoke about and approached to with and immediately I'll check it out, and then got great feedback because of with Coach Paloka and Kyle Johnston, and how they vetted whoever the master of jiu-jitsu would be. Those parties did all of their homework, really tracked every single health-related issue that he's had from falling, and concretely attacked the problem. So I think it was really cool from an organizational standpoint and from Tua's standpoint, and I feel great about the results. We've only had one time in camp so far in live action that it was in OTAs, actually. In OTAs, he got stepped on and he fell down backwards and completed a backwards somersault. It's pretty sweet.
That was my next question. Like, you're not playing real football right now. The quarterbacks are not going to get hit. So how much can you know until the game starts in September?
And that was something that was an unintended consequence of the whole off season. Is we found that there's certain drills that we can apply to all the quarterbacks, because you're right. It was something that really talking to Teddy Bridgewater last year randomly, he was like, yeah, it's so irritating. Like, we go 0 to 60. It's like, okay, well, that is true. That's what a wild existence. So we've done our best to come up with some drills so that they can fall over. A lot of which is just me pushing them. It's not.
Coach, last year this time you had mentioned that Jalen Waddle was a guy you felt made a big jump from OTAs to training camp. I'm curious if there's a player or two that you might feel the same about this year.
From OTAs to training camp, this. I think the byproduct of being here a second year, I think there is a lot more consistency with. People knew what to expect in OTAs, so their best foot forward, was what the expectation was. So I don't see as much distinction between OTAs and training camp, specifically with individuals. What I do see is people more so than last year utilized last year's training or utilized the off season's training and built upon that in training camp, which is something that you're kind of always worried about. And there's certain guys, we spoke about Van Ginkel's versatility. Well, he's utilized what he learned in OTAs and has been able to do some really cool stuff in training camp. I think there's a lot of defensive players that are developing at a really cool rate and really flourishing within the system. I see young guys going after it like a Cam Good, who is trying to get on the field as best he can. Guys that have had some roles that they want expanded, like Elijah Campbell. The list goes on and on. Just because I see guys getting coached at a high level, and guys wanting to be coached, and guys responding to it.
Hey, it is what it is, man.
All right, so that's some interesting stuff. Basically, he's saying one thing that he noticed is that from last year to this year, players kind of know what the expectations are for a training camp, and he's seeing not such a difference between training camp and the OTAs. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like people are bringing the same, thought process. What did you think about that, Color? What about it? What he was saying?
Yeah, it sounds good, man. I think we got the guys on our squad understand where we're at right now, and they're treating it as such. There's sort of a sense of urgency, but a controlled urgency. Not I don't think anybody's out over their skis.
Mm-hmm.
You're just seeing a lot of energy. People want to play. These guys are feeling excited to wake up in the morning and go to practice, and that's good, because as hot as it is out there, I can't say that when I was playing, I look forward to it every day. So to be looking forward to going out there in that heat and getting it on, that says something about where our mentality's at and where our team, and the players think they can go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think that they definitely know what the expectation is, and you're seeing that with the comfortableness of how things were ran last year to this year. People know what to expect. They're more accepted to it. They build a lot more. It's basically continuing that continuity from year to year. Is basically what's happening when it comes to how things are structured and the expectation. And people are being more receptive and move forward with it. Color, we got 3 more minutes before we got to cut it. Got any final thoughts or anything about today? What are you excited about for anything excited for at camp since you're going with El Cap?
Well, yeah, he's actually should be here in about a half hour or so. I am patiently awaiting the arrival of the great El Capitan to pick me up, and yeah, I'm gonna have a look at the tight ends today. I want to see continued energy going into them bags in the linebacker crew. Like to see Jerome pick up his energy a little bit in drills, but other than that, I look forward to a nice hot practice. Well, not actually that hot today, from what I understand, but good clear skies today, and we'll let it rip, man. We'll have a lot more info in a few hours.
Make sure you take note of what happens in the tight end room. I want to know for a fact that Durham Smythe is lighting it up and making Lewis eat his words. So I just want to put that out there.
Well, just Lewis so everybody remembers, there's a lot more to it than just catching the ball and running routes, But
I know. I'm just messing, bro. I'm messing.
That's why it's boring to watch them, because you're watching a bunch of blocking and stuff like that. But
I hear you. But I just want to know how. Do take notes of the tight end group for me. I want to know. So, anyway, if you're just joining us, this is Top of the Tailgate. We're back. We're going to start this all up all over again this week and keep going with it. And make sure you hit like and subscribe. Remember, Late Night Exhale is back Saturday, 10 p.m. It should be good to go this Saturday. That shouldn't be a problem. Me and Color are going to camp at the Dolphin Stadium practice. I believe that's going to be in the stadium. That'll be interesting. So we're going to that Saturday, Color, so don't forget about that. And when I get back, Late Night Exhale at 10 p.m., me and Color will talk a lot about it. It'll be a big hype show. It'd be a lot of fun.
That should be lots of fun.
Yeah, lots of fun there. Anyway, hit the like, subscribe, tell a friend, turn on communication. We appreciate y'all. And with that, I have to say adieu. Fins up, everyone.
Yeah.